Hello friends, this is teacher JB. Today we are going to study action verbs. We are studying action verbs. Action verbs express actions, and let's study the action verbs through some affirmative sentences. I is the subject and go is the verb. To school is complement. So subject, verb, and this verb is an action. So I go to school. You eat bread. Subject, verb, and this is an object. He drinks coffee. He subject, drink, and we have an S because he is third person singular. He drinks coffee. The action is drinks, and then coffee is the object. She, third person singular, so we have an S. She writes a letter. So this is the verb, and this is the object. It, again, this is a third person singular. So instead of have, we have has. Has is the verb here. It has a pretty puppy. So a pretty puppy is the object. We play soccer at the park. We play. We is the subject. Play is the verb. And soccer at the park. Soccer is an object, but the whole thing can be a complement. You, plural, make a doghouse. So this is the verb. A doghouse is an object. They, this is third person, but this is plural. So we don't put an S here. Only third person singular has S at the end of the verb. They plan to travel around the world. This is complement. James, this is he. So this is the third person singular. So we put ES because go. We don't just put S, we put ES. James goes to school. Cindy is she. So Cindy does. Do, S, but for do we put ES. Cindy does her homework. So this is the object. John is he, right? So this third person singular. John buys a new computer. Tom is he, third person singular. Tom runs 5 miles every day. This is affirmative. Just remember the order. Subject, verb, either complement or object. The negative sentence order is this: subject, verb, complement or object, but between the verb and subject, we put do not or does not. If the subject is third person singular, we put does not. James, Cindy, John, Tom, they're third person singular, so we put does not. And the rest of it, we put do not. So I go to school? No, I don't. I do not go to school. You eat bread? You do not eat bread. He drinks coffee, but when you negate this, remove S and use does. He does not drink coffee. She writes a letter, but this is negative, so remove this, take does instead of do. She does not write a letter. It has a cute puppy, but it's a negative, so we don't use has. Instead we use have and use does not here. It does not have a cute puppy. We play soccer at the park. No, we do not play soccer at the park. You make a doghouse. No, you do not make a doghouse. They plan to travel around the world. They do not plan to travel around the world. James goes to school. Again, we are negating this, so we use does instead of goes. So remove es. Say, James does not go to school. Cindy does her homework. But this is negative, so we remove es. Instead we use does not do her homework. John buys a new computer. Again, this is negative, so we didn't use it. We use does not. And the last one is Tom. Tom is third person singular. Tom runs 5 miles every day, but he does not run 5 miles. So again, when you make negative sentences, use auxiliary verb do or does. But the verb, they had to be the original form. So does not go is supposed to be James goes, but we don't say James does not goes. We say James does not go. And Cindy does. Cindy does her homework. We don't say Cindy does not does her homework. Since we have does here, we remove es. We just say Cindy does not do her homework. When we make interrogative, which means questions, interrogative means questions, we change the word order a little bit differently. So subject here, verb, complement, but for the question, we put do or does, which is auxiliary, at the beginning of the sentence. I go to school becomes do I go to school? We put question here. You eat bread. And then do you eat bread? He drinks coffee, and it becomes does he drink coffee, and because of this does, we lose s. Just like this, we lose s. She writes a letter, but we lose s, and we say does she write a letter? Does she write a letter? It has a cute puppy. But this is a question, so we send does to the beginning of the sentence, and instead of has, we use have. Does it have a cute puppy? We play soccer at the park. But do we play soccer at the park? You make a doghouse. Do you make a doghouse? They plan to travel around the world. Do they plan to travel around the world? James, is he? He goes to school. But this is a question, so we use does here, and then we lose es. So does he or does James go to school? Cindy does her homework. But this is question, we use does at the beginning, so we lose es, and the question becomes, does Cindy do her homework? And John is third person singular. John buys a new computer. But this is a question, so we say, does John buy a new computer? The last one, Tom runs 5 miles every day. And we make question, does, and then we lose s. Does Tom run 5 miles every day? Okay, this is the end of today's study. And just next time when I come to you, I will come with adjectives. So when I come back, we are going to study adjectives. Until then, keep studying English and have a great day. Bye.